Europe and North America.
Come on over, everybody. Grab the tombstones and the pictures.
The legislative process is not working for us. We cannot even get a permit to protest in this Lafayette Square. This square is supposed to be the people's square, and we're not allowed to be here.
The Bush administration is a gangster administration. We are not going to pretend that this is not about oil. We are not going to pretend that this was an intelligence failure. We are not going to pretend that this is something we can change by being civil or by being obedient. We will not be civil with gangsters.
I'm reading this on behalf of my nephew, Staff Sergeant Mejia, who has been restricted to his base. Camilo has been to war as a soldier. While he was in Iraq, he saw no weapons of mass destruction. He saw no chemical weapons. He saw no reconstruction. What he saw was innocent people being killed, destruction, and a nation being humiliated.
Some say that Sergeant Mejia broke his oath as a soldier, and we say otherwise. All of our men and women in uniform agreed to put their lives on the line to protect country and Constitution. They signed an oath, a contract. But contracts have two sides. The government's implied vow is that it will not send our troops into reckless military misadventures, into wars for oil markets and empire building for companies like Halliburton and Bechtel. And that's the part of the contract that was broken.
Here they build the big guns.
We were here, the M27 Coalition, protesting the Carlyle Group, which is a global investment fund that stands to profit mightily from the war and from the reconstruction of Iraq. George Bush Sr. is on their board of advisors, as is James Baker and Frank Carlucci. They're very tied in with the government.
Today is a national day of action against the war on Iraq. And we are saying, as long as they're making money from genocide, no more business as usual. Thank you very much. I got to go to jail now. Take a picture of this guy in the hat.
Ow! I cannot feel my hand.
What profits today?
What's your name?
What's your name? How many died for your profits?
Katerina what?
Walk in my direction. How many died for your profits today?
What's your name, ma'am?
What do you say? How many died for your profits today?
Across the street there was a legal protest, people standing holding signs, chanting, that was created as a safe space for them across the street. The cops moved in, encircled them, refused to let them leave, and arrested all of them. About 40 or 50 people who were doing nothing illegal other than holding a sign against the war.
I've done nothing illegal. I stood on the sidewalk holding a sign, speaking out against this war, against my hearing. I want money from Medicare.
I have done nothing illegal. I want planning over my street. I have done nothing illegal today. I was not blocking the traffic. I was not blocking the sidewalk. And police arrested me because I am against the war.
So now it's official. We are living in a police state. You are not allowed to be on the street carrying a sign saying, "I am against the war." You will be arrested. It's really shocking that free speech and civil liberties are gone in America. You cannot voice your protest at all. You'll end up in jail if you do. We're not going to sit here and let our civil rights be destroyed because of some immoral war that's being done for one reason only, to make money. This war has nothing to do with Saddam Hussein or 9/11 or weapons of mass destruction. It has everything to do with corporate profits, and that's evident right here. You protest the Carlyle Group, you end up in jail.
He fastened all the triggers for the others to fire. And then you sit back and watch.
What's going on here? Here we go!
got an idea. Let's make this war bigger. Let's see if we can make more money. Let's see if we can secure more markets, more contracts, and more money for all of us.
One resource is oil. One motivation is empire. The other resource is water.
Hey, come join me. Corporate America. Come on, it's all good. It's all good. We're here to make money, damn it.
I think this depiction of the pigs at the public trough exemplifies the outrageous corporate greed that has run amok in the United States.
Stephen Pelletier, who is a former CIA senior political analyst on Iraq. He wrote, America could alter the destiny of the Middle East in a way that probably could not be challenged for decades, not solely by controlling Iraq's oil, but by controlling its water. Even if America didn't occupy the country, once Mr. Hussein's Ba'ath Party is driven from power, many lucrative opportunities would open up for American companies.
Bechtel is the world's largest privatizer of water around the world, and so of course they are the obvious candidate to control Iraq's water supply. And of course if you control a people's water supply, you control their lifeline and their very lives.
Today, the United States is a grave and gathering danger.
FBI agents have new authority today to investigate suspected terrorists. New guidelines announced yesterday by the Attorney General, John Ashcroft, allow the FBI to monitor religious services and other public places, including the internet. And that brings us to our question of the day. Are the FBI's new powers intrusive or necessary?
It causes everybody to notice all day long that they're now in a state of higher levels of surveillance and control, which makes you uncomfortable. One way or another, it makes you uncomfortable. You know, it doesn't make, I don't know anybody that feels more secure when they're under more control and more surveillance.
This so-called war is not a war on terrorism. It's a war on people of color. It's a war on people who are oppressed. And it's a war against people who oppose this war.
Set them free! Set them free!
My name is Monami Malik, and I'm a community organizer with a group called DRUM, Dishes Rising Up and Moving, and we're out here today protesting in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center.
I'm Amira Habibi Brown. I'm the founder and executive director of the Arab American Family Support Center.
Since September, we believe that at least 2,000 people just in the New York and New Jersey area alone have been picked up in the middle of the night often by the FBI, INS, NYPD, and locked up in detention centers.
It would be one thing if everybody that had overstayed their visa was being detained or deported or questioned, but it seemed to us that this was really focused on the Arab community and the Muslim community.
Weekly protests at Metropolitan Detention Center right here every Saturday have been going on for the past 21 weeks. There's still at least 50 to 100, we don't know the numbers of detainees in there.
We're a well-established community. We're not just a bunch of newcomers that have come here to destroy this country.
Something that affects all of America, even middle America, because we're talking about human rights for everybody. We're talking about justice. We're talking about the same things Martin Luther King talked about years